Well, hello, DCO Nation. Welcome to Deadcom Outdoors Radio. This is the show where the tide set the tone and the bite tells the story. We're diving into everything saltwater inshore kayak fishing, from lures and locations to weather, water, and winning tactics. If it helps you hook up on more fish, we're talking about it right here. So grab your paddle, check your drag, and here we go. Well, hello, DCO Nation, and welcome to Deadcom Outdoors right here on the Outdoor Radio Network. And before we jump into this extra special episode, I want to invite everybody to follow me on all of the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, YouTube. You know, we run through it every week, so you guys ought to know it by now, but I did just put out a new video on YouTube. You guys can go over there and check that out. Just search Deadcom Outdoors. We can get connected. You can follow me, I can follow you, and that is how social media works. So guys, that is a very, very quick intro because I have Captain Bob with me this week with On the Hook with Captain Bob on the Outdoor Radio Network. You guys know that. So how you doing, buddy? Doing all right?
Man, I am thrilled. And you know, every time that I get the invite for the show, you know I'm there. I absolutely love doing it. I wish we could do it more. I know you've got a lot of guests and a lot of fishing that you talk about, but I really enjoy coming on Deadcom Outdoors.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, love having you on. We go way, way back. And matter of fact, this is part of the reason why I wanted to have you on. This week is my 1 year anniversary with ORN. And so, you know, it's just been a ton of fun. I needed to have you on because one, I want to talk about how the Outdoor Radio Network got started, how we hooked up, and just kind of how this thing has exploded into worldwide. So why don't you start us off? How did this come about?
Well, gosh, you know, it's a long story. And Chris, you know, you were a guest on my old show. Gosh, what was it? 4 years ago now, maybe, when we were doing On the Hook with Captain Bob on Carolina Gold, 93.9 FM. I believe it was in Wilmington and Georgetown as well. So we had a small little local radio show. That radio station sold to another ownership group. We had continued the show with a new ownership group, and you know, everything was going great. We continued to grow the show, particularly, but there was always that need for more. And one of the things that we ended up realizing, Chris, was in our industry, we have a lot of local radio shows, right, that you can pick up on a Saturday morning in your local market. Another great one here in the Myrtle Beach area that's been running for about 9-10 years. So there are those types of outlets. But what our industry never had was a true voice of their own. In other words, we had no 24/7 outlet. You can get 24/7 politics all day long, right? 24/7 sports all day long. But we never had 24/7 outdoors until now. So that is why the Outdoor Radio Network was born, really to give us that outlet of a 24/7 platform, just like all of the other big platforms are. So, of course, you know, we started with iHeartRadio, Outdoor Radio Network on iHeartRadio. Absolutely terrific platform to launch on. Why not launch on the largest owner of radio stations on the planet, hence iHeartRadio? And from there, Chris, you know that it just took off. The desire to have something other than politics in your life is real. And the nice thing about the outdoors is it can cross any barrier. Everybody loves the outdoors, right? Doesn't make a difference where you're from. Doesn't make a difference who your favorite football team is, who your favorite college team. Makes no difference, right? Everybody can enjoy the outdoors. And it's been just a great run so far. We continue to grow. You know that. And we are very fortunate, Chris, that we've got you on as part of that kayak power hour that we have, because again, that is filling a need for our industry that was not out there.
Right.
So you're coming on with Dead Calm Outdoors. Congratulations on 1 year. What an absolutely terrific
Thank
run
you.
so far.
Thank you.
And you bring the saltwater side of it, right? So Outdoor Radio Network's able to provide saltwater kayak fishing as well as freshwater kayak fishing for those kayak anglers. Of course, we have hunting and fishing. Of course, Captain Jonathan Moss, he's down on the south end. You've got my show up here in the Carolinas. But we have a really good run of hosts. Qualified Captain Aaron Stasiak, of course, with his safety show. He's got some amazing stories there. We've got Matt Clark. He's number 3 in Australia with Australia Hunting and Beyond. He's one of our international hosts. Yeah. And we just continue to grow. So we're very fortunate about that.
Yeah. And one of the shows that I love to listen to is the Knife Junkie. He is, I mean, if you guys are into knives, he knows his stuff.
Yes, he does.
And I have actually picked up a couple of knives that he has talked about.
Awesome. Cold steel by chance?
What's that?
Any of the cold steel?
No. A little bit on the lower end, but okay. But I'm working into that kind of genre of things, kind of the everyday carry for work, and just have it in my back pocket. We're in the South. I grew up in the country, and as much as I love and hate to say it, you're not a man if you're not carrying a pocket knife, and that's kind of how I grew up. But being 1 year, Captain Bob said that we've known each other for 4 or 5 years, whatever it's been. And we had a mutual friend, Jay Mobbs, that with jelly baits. You guys know that we've talked about jelly baits. Oh, yeah. And that's kind of how we got hooked up.
That's right.
Captain Bob reached out one time and said, "Hey, do you want to be on my show?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." I don't know who would want to listen to me. I always say, I'm the local meatball who strapped a camera to my chest, and I still don't know why people watch me. But I don't know. It's a ton of fun. But that's how we got hooked up.
That's right.
And it was a year ago when you had reached out and said, "Hey, we're looking at putting together a kayak hour. Do you want to do the saltwater side?" And at that point, I think I told you, "Hey, give me a day or two. Let me just kind of think about it." Yep. And then after like a day, I was like, "What the hell am I even waiting on?" And I think I called you right back and I said, "Dude, I'm in." I said, "I don't even know why I'm waiting." Yeah, I'm in. I'll ride this horse until she bucks me off. So let's just go. Let's just go with it. But and I tell you what, having you on, I can't even name everybody, and I don't even want to name everybody because I know I'm going to forget people. But all of the guests that I had on DCO Live and Dead Calm Outdoors, and then all of the new relationships that has evolved after this year of being on has just been, Captain Bob, I am so grateful to you, reaching out, thank you really doesn't even do it justice.
No.
I just really do appreciate the opportunity. It's been a ton of fun for me.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you, number one, for doing it. And the list of guests, the list of hosts that we have. And we don't offer Outdoor Radio Network exclusive shows just to everybody, right? You really do have a terrific grasp of what you do. And that is indeed saltwater kayak fishing. Go back and look. Well, actually, don't look at your first show with the cell phone, with the camera strapped on your chest when you're at the pond. Let's pass those ones up. Let's go back to even a few years back. The material that you put out is not only correctly done, right? Professionally done. But some of the things that we even talked about that I appreciate what you do is you not only tell them what you're using, but you show them exactly what you're using, how you're rigging it. You break all that down. You are not shy about that. So if you're going to Dead Calm Outdoors on YouTube and watching your videos, it's not going to be just another fishing show where you're ripping fish in. You're actually giving lessons. And that is what we wanted to carry over. And you have done it stellar, my friend. Absolutely. Congratulations on 1 year. Hopefully we get another 30 more.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And, and again, I know we have talked about it and we've talked about it on the show before, but, I got to give a shout out to my dad. I know he's going to be listening. He listens every week. And, he was the one that got me into the outdoors and fishing. I grew up on about a 5-acre lake in my backyard. So, to say that I was spoiled and to be able to just grab a rod anytime I want and go, started out bluegill fishing, probably like everybody else, worming a bobber, and then just kind of graduated to bass, and then, a little bitty fly rod, and then I had a little rubber raft I would go out on in the lake, and I guess that was my, first real introduction to, getting off of the bank was this little rubber raft, and that was, a ton of fun. But that's a shout out to my dad. And you were talking about, showing what I use and explaining all that. Again, that goes straight back to my dad, because very early on in my videos, I was just kind of fishing. And he said, hey, people want to know what you're throwing, how you're rigging it. So, very early on, I switched everything and I thought, yeah, so I started putting down at the bottom everything, the bait, the weight, the color, if I was using scent or not, all of that goes back to him. And my whole kind of thought process and attitude changed from, give a man a fish, he eats for a day, teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime. So I don't talk about, hey, go to this spot, go to this spot, go to this spot. Look for current, look for structure, look for bait activity, look for, because like we always say, fish have tails, fish are going to move, they're going to, go everywhere. So, but Captain Bob, hang on. We're at the end of the first segment. It flies by. But guys, don't go anywhere. We're talking with Captain Bob with On the Hook with Captain Bob with this 1 year anniversary show. But stick around because this is a fishing show. So in the second half, we're going to be talking the day on the water Captain Bob just had. So stick around, guys, who are listening to Dead Calm Outdoors right here on the Outdoor Radio Network. Well, welcome back, DCO Nation. I appreciate you guys sticking around. We are chatting with Captain Bob with On the Hook with Captain Bob right here on the Outdoor Radio Network. You guys catch his show. You drop every Monday at 10 a.m.
10 a.m. New episodes, that's correct.
Yeah, absolutely. And your latest episode with Captain Miko, him tying the fly right there live on the... Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Super cool.
Yes. He was excited to do that. He says, I don't think this has ever been done. Now, of course, for all of our listeners, they can go ahead and catch that on YouTube as well. Head on over to On the Hook with Captain Bob on YouTube. You'll be able to see him actually tie the fly live, but definitely doing it on the radio was something that we wanted to have done, but being able to describe it properly so that the listeners could understand exactly what he was doing and what he was tying. And let me tell you, Chris, he whipped that thing up, well, over 2 segments, but that was because we were talking. Literally, he could have probably tied that Miko special in 5 minutes flat, if that. Yeah. What a professional.
Yeah. I think he said he's been tying it for 20 years, 15 years. How long has he been doing it?
Yeah, I think it's about 20 years he's been tying that.
Yeah.
Orvis had the rights, I believe, for about 15 years or 15 years plus.
Yeah.
Which was another great story too. Can you imagine having the president of Orvis on your boat? I mean, everybody that's a bone fisherman, they know Miko Glinton and his whole family. But having the president of Orvis, and he's got every fly in the world, right, that he can bring, and he caught nothing. And then Miko pulls out the Miko special out of his pocket that he just tied 4 of them the night before, and they slam 4 big bone fish in a row. And right there, the guy wants to buy the fly from him. What a great story. But I'm glad you enjoyed the episode.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. It was super unique. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. So,
well, go ahead.
Yeah. Nope.
Well, I was going to say, one of the nice things is, for all of our listeners, we've got the Miko experience that is coming to ORN as well. So they will be able to hear Miko's new show. It's going to be coming here in the next couple of weeks to ORN as part of our ORN Bahamas launch that will happen as well simultaneously. So stick around for all that.
Man, absolutely cool. Yeah, to have somebody like him and, with the history and everybody that's been on his boat and Joe Coulis. I mean,
right.
I mean,
Joe
just
Coulis, Hall of Famer. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, just listening to his stories is amazing. Yeah, and what he's doing. So still doing it.
We talked about that earlier, and I know we're going to talk fishing, but if I get running on too long, you just let me know. But we talked a little bit earlier about the hosts that we have on the Outdoor Radio Network, right? And here we go. Joe Coulis, right? Castaway Joe Coulis. He is the first person on the planet ever to shoot the big 5 in Africa with a recurve bow. He did it with a 100-pound recurve bow, and that is lion, leopard, elephant, Cape buffalo, and a rhino. And just for giggles, he got the black rhino and the white rhino. So technically he got 6. You can't even do that anymore. I think 3 people have done that. Fred Bear didn't even do that. But now, of course, Joe also being a Hall of Fame taxidermist. He has over 20,000 mounts that got him into the Hall of Fame. And he said those were just the fish. That didn't even count his birds and everything else. The 20,000 just fish. But Joe was one of the original shows on the Outdoor Channel. Had that TV show there, the Outdoor World with Castaway Coulis for 26 years, 26 seasons on the Outdoor Channel. But very blessed to have him as well. I mean, we're in great company.
Yeah. It's absolutely awesome to just, when you jump on the website and just run down all of the names of the people who are hosts on ORN is just absolutely incredible. It really is. So, okay, let's jump in. We are still a fishing show. So let's jump in. What did you do today? You were out on the water. Tell me about it.
I was out on the water with a very good friend of ours, Captain Stephen Fluke from Unashamed Adventures, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Captain Fluke and I went down to his home waters, and this is something that we've been planning. We've been trying to get out, and I'll be honest with you, we were down at ICAST, and he wrangles me in, and he says, "Cap, pull your phone out right now." He said, "We're picking a day," and he pulls out his calendar, and he says, "Pick a day anytime in here," and I hit the day, and it was today. So we finally got the opportunity to go down there, and I've got to say, what an awesome fishery that he has. You want to talk about somebody that is absolutely blessed. Chris, we saw one other boat all day, and we fished for probably 10 hours today. One boat in that entire area that he has, that he fishes, of course, in and around Bulls Bay, Muddy Bay, and all that, around McClellanville. If anybody wants to experience a fishing trip where literally you are just out there in the bays and in the marshes, total peace, call Captain Stephen Fluke. I love our people up here, up in Little River. It is a different type of fishery up here. Of course, you're coming to the marina. There's 30 boats, everybody going out for the morning charters, big boats, small boats, head charters, everything. You go down there, nothing. It's Captain Fluke, and you got your guys that run out there, but total openness. And what an awesome day. Very glad to have gone down. And your friend Captain Bob's a fishy guy.
Mm-hmm.
I just have this thing like I don't have to catch a slam every time, but it's nice when you do, right? And I'm not saying that I was looking for the slam, but indeed that did happen. So Captain Fluke was able to put me on my first slam out of that area there, redfish, trout, and flounder, what we picked up. And one of my concerns was how hot that water was going to be. right?
Mm.
Because when that water temperature, especially in Murrell's Inlet too, some of them back channels there, when they get really hot, 90 plus degrees, oxygen levels going to dissipate out of the water. But there was none of that there. So when we first hit the water this morning, right around 6 a.m., I think we pushed off. It was still dark out. Water temperature was 84 degrees, a little bit over, like 84.2 degrees. By the end of the day, the water temperature got up to 86.4 degrees. So it really didn't climb up that much. We did have a lot of wind. There was a negative low tide today. So we had a negative low tide with a west blowing wind and a wind coming out of the west, and it just took that water out. And there were some seriously exposed mud flats that Cap he says, oh, I haven't seen this in a long time.
Yeah.
I think they were predicting a minus 0.7 negative tide. It was probably a foot negative once that wind took all that water out. So it was really low. Now, with that said, it was kind of okay for fishing, because when all that water goes out, what's it going to do? It's going to concentrate your bait fish to wherever they can be. So now we're finding, we had finger mullet everywhere, and shrimp just popping left and right. So obviously, when you're finding shrimp popping, what are you going to do? We're heading over there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we that's what we did. Caught the first nice trout on a topwater skitterwalk. Pulled that through. Everything else was on the 3.5-inch loose body prawn star.
Okay.
In the golden boy color, I believe is what he had out there. And we put that on a Tex Eye from Z-Man. Mm-hmm. And what I like about that is, that the Z-Man plastisol is buoyant, right? So when you put that shrimp on the Tex Eye has the hook that will rotate, right? You can make it weedless, whatever you want, but you're going to have the jig head that'll sit on the bottom, and now your shrimp will be buoyant, so it'll actually lift off the ground a bit, and you've got a nice little teaser. The nice thing about that, we were just talking about that at the last seminar that we had down at Bass Pro Shops, and now I was able to actually put that into use today, just like we describe it. And of course, that pulled in, that particular one pulled in the slam. That pulled in a trout, pulled in flounder, and pulled in the redfish.
Oh, okay.
All that 3.5-inch.
Yeah. That's one of my favorites. I love the little shrimp on the Texas Eye. And just like you said, man, that thing floats up. You give it a couple little hops, and it looks so natural on the bottom. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely love it. So, so what were the sizes of your fish? Did you get anything, or just numbers?
Oh, they were all huge. They were all enormous. Like every single one of them was trophy size.
Yeah.
No. Rat red. No. The slam finisher actually was a flounder that was maybe, if I stepped on it and squeezed it a little bit, maybe 15 inches.
Okay, but he counts.
Yeah, it will definitely count. That's part of the slam. Yeah. Now I will say this. I don't want to say that I wanted to flex a little bit, because like I said, I like to go out and catch fish. I said, Cap, give me your fly rod. I want to show you a trick. He said, okay, give me a fly rod. So took Cap's fly rod, nice little fly that he tied. Almost looked like the Miko Special, little weighted eyes. And I showed him how to catch catfish with a fly rod.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So that wasn't part of the slam.
Yeah, no, trash slam.
On a fly, a catfish. On a fly, catfish. Let me know when your next guest comes on if they've caught a catfish on a fly.
That's going to be the first question I ask. Okay, this is what you got to top. The catfish on a fly. And they're like, what?
Now, I've got to say, Cap said, don't tell anybody you caught a catfish on a fly with me. I said, people might want to do that. You might sell out your trips now, fly fishing for catfish.
Yeah, people don't care. They're coming down wanting to catch fish.
So. That's right. Want to catch fish. But no, honestly, we had a great day. Plenty of fish to be had. And Cap, he knows that water. I would get lost. I mean, obviously I wouldn't get lost, but we would have all of our navionics and mapping and all that. But
Right.
he runs it every day, and he runs that maze, just just like it's his house. I mean, he goes through everything. It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I got to get up with him. I know that we've talked about it, and matter of fact, he said he wants to get in a kayak, and I was
Yes.
like, "Okay, man." I said, "You don't know what you're asking for."
Yeah.
I said, "It's brutal." He's
Yep.
like, "No, let's do it."
Oh
So,
yeah. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, I
He'll
definitely got to
probably
get him.
throw a he likes to throw a bait caster in salt as well. In fact, I think he said that probably 80% of his tournament fishing is with a bait caster, but I could see him throwing the bait caster on the kayak.
Oh
I think
yeah,
he would enjoy that.
yeah, yeah.
No
Definitely,
doubt.
definitely. So we are wrapping up the show. We've only got about a minute left, and again, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to do this week in, week out, to be able to sit here and talk about something that I just love to do. Never would have thought oh gosh, my lifetime that this would even be something that I would, be able to do.
Mhm.
Would I even be able to just sit here and talk for 30 minutes about fishing? And it's a lot easier for me than what I thought, when
You're
you're,
ready for a 3 hour show, I think.
I just love doing it. So, I just want to give shout out
Yes.
to all my guests over the past year, everybody who's been on. And, my wife, Lefty, a huge shout out to her because, it takes a lot of time to be back here, interview, edit. And she's been doing it, since I've been doing it on YouTube. So, Lefty, appreciate you. You know that. And Captain Bob, thank you so much for coming on and celebrating this with me. Nobody
Congratulations.
else I would rather have on for the 1 year. Thank you
I
so
love
much.
it. Congratulations and thank you, Chris. Honest to goodness, and congratulations into many, many more years.
I appreciate that. Appreciate it. And guys, we are going to end it like we've ended it for the last year. Remember, conservation starts with you. Release a fish for someone else to enjoy. And you've been listening to Dead Come Outdoors right here, the Outdoor Radio Network.